Hey, good morning. It's June the 10th. The word for you today, our devotional. Today, we're in the book of Habakkuk. When's the last time you've been in the book of Habakkuk? Bet it's been some time. We're in chapter 2, verse 2. It says, "Then the Lord replied, write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it." Well, what's going on here? Habakkuk is complaining to God. He's saying, God, there is violence, there's injustice, all kinds of bad stuff going on with your people, the Hebrew people. And God, you're doing nothing about it. And God, why not? Because you are a holy God. And then he goes on and in verses 6 through 20 of chapter 2, he mentions greed. He talks about the greed of the people, using people for selfish gain, violence against one another, exploitation of people, taking advantage of people, idolatry. All of these things are going on, Habakkuk said, and God, you're doing nothing about it. Why not? Well, God finally gets a chance to say something, and he tells Habakkuk that he does see what's going on. He knows what's going on, and he is acting. And then he tells Habakkuk to do three things. The first thing he tells him to do is to write down this revelation. What revelation? Well, what God is going to tell Habakkuk. So Habakkuk writes down what God is telling him. Why? So that people will know this conversation that they're having and that, yeah, God really does know. And God is about to do something that is so unlikely, so unreal, that people would never have believed that they knew ahead of time, that God knew ahead of time what was going to happen. So he said, write it down. The second thing he tells me to do is make it plain. Make it plain on tablets. What does that mean? You ever listen to somebody talk, particularly a preacher, and they just muddy the waters, they make it, you just don't understand. They've talked a lot, but you have no idea what they've said. Well, what he's telling Habakkuk, be very clear. Don't add a bunch of your own thoughts here. Just be very clear, be very simple. Simply write down what I'm telling you. That's what God is telling Habakkuk to do. So write it down, make it simple. And the third thing, so that a herald may run with it. A herald is someone who would take a message and he would run to different towns and he would proclaim a message. Then he would run to another town and proclaim that message. Well, why would a herald run with this? Well, to spread the news, one, because it's important, and then so that the news could make a difference in the lives of people. And as we read the book of Habakkuk, it should make a difference in our lives, because what it tells us is that God knows what's going on and God is acting, whether we see it or not. So what is the good news in Habakkuk? Well, first of all, it tells us that God does know what's going on. There's nothing going on in your life that God doesn't know about. And second thing, God is working, whether we see it or not. And then God is going to see that justice is done in the end, because he is God. He says, but this lesson today is believe in your vision. Believe in your vision. Well, what is vision? Vision is the ability to see something. You know, when you put on a pair of binoculars and you look through them, and it brings objects far away up close, so they look closer than what they really are. So it's misleading in a way. You turn the binoculars around and they're a lot further away than what they really are. Well, as we go through life, most of us look at things in life like that. We're looking through binoculars where things seem closer and things seem further away. Something seems, we don't see the whole picture. We only see a little bit. And because we only see a little bit, we take that little bit and we make judgments based on that. God, you don't know what's going on. God, why are you letting this happen? God, you're not doing a good job. We look at these things and based on our perspective, what we see, we make judgments. And we don't see things as they really are. Just like God was telling Habakkuk, you don't see what I'm doing. You don't see what I'm preparing to do. But I am acting. I know what's going on. So in your life, I don't know what's going on in your life, but if there are things that are happening that you're disappointed in or discouraged or feeling frustrated about, just go and talk to God. Say, God, tell him, just like Habakkuk, tell him what's going on. Say, God, are you working? Are you doing anything? Well, I guarantee you he is. Now, what is he doing? I don't know. And what he's doing may surprise you. But folks, if we will look at life with our regular eyes rather than through a binoculars or through different colored glasses. And we could see life as it really is and see things through God's point of view, then things make a whole lot more sense. Our world today, our world is messed up. It is messed up. God, do you know what's going on? Have you made a mistake? No, God hasn't made a mistake. And yes, He knows what's going on. And as you look through life, you'll see things that show that God really is in control, even though it doesn't look like it. So today, anything you're feeling frustrated about, your vision, you're frustrated about, you take those to God just like Habakkuk did. Have a good day.